Just sneezed. It hurt my nose. Y'all probably didn't want to see that, but oh well. Anyway, as always, I have my oatmeal ready in the morning, waiting on my water to boil so I can eat my oatmeal. Today is it's breakfast. Actually brunch by the time I'm eating it, but it's breakfast. It's breakfast blog. Breakfast blog. So comment down below if y'all like the breakfast blogs. Or just the blogs. Talking. The vlogs. In general. I'm doing the bird hands. Do the bird, bird, bird. Bird is the word. Oh wait, we're not talking about bird hands today. Bird hands! Go to home math if you want to learn about bird hands. Bird hands. I'm just being silly. It's not bird hands. Sorry, home math. It's not bird hands. I'm just being silly. Anyway, today's vlog is going to be about capitalism. Yay! Specifically, my version of capitalism. Specifically, how I run my business. With the bird hands. No, I'm just playing. How I run my business. Recently, someone commented on my Ross resale video that I just posted, by the way. And they told me that the item I was selling, I was overpricing it. And I should lower my prices in my booth. They say they go to my booth all the time, and that I should lower my prices in my booth to make sales. Well, I already have lower prices than retail. So I'm trying to figure out how they think I can lower them even more to make sales. Anyway, they claimed that this thing that I bought, okay, I bought it for $22. It has 3 figures in it. And my plan was to resell it 50. When it says literally on there, comparable value to $70. So 50 is, if I do my math, $20 cheaper than $70. Okay? Right? So I'm already being lower than retail. Star Wars Black Series figures on average sell for $20 to $25 each. So this is a 3-pack. We got right. See? Breakfast. Oatmeal. So, let's think about this. If the retail stores are selling them for $20 to $25 each, then the value of item with 3 of them in there would be $75, right? At $25, $60 at $20. I'm selling mine for $50 for 3 figures, which is $16 and 70. It's like 75 cents. It's something. It's some weird number. It's like that, right? So here's what the guy apparently does not comprehend is the fact that I don't have free booth rent. You have to pay for that. So it's a thing called overhead costs. And apparently this is what most people don't understand about capitalism is that there's a thing called overhead costs. He doesn't factor in overhead costs. He doesn't factor in expenditure costs. Okay, the item cost me $22 plus tax. We might as well say $23. Selling it at $30 would only allow me to make $7 profit, which is nothing. That's zero profit because then I have to pay um, I have to pay a consignment of 10% on the stuff I sell, plus booth rent. Don't get me started on the idea that it should be one or the other. It should not be both. It's ridiculous that it is both, but I digress. It should be one or the other. If you're paying booth rent, you shouldn't have to pay any consignment fee. If you're paying a consignment fee, you shouldn't have to pay any booth rent. That's just personally how I think it should be. And if I ran a booth, that's probably how it would be. If I ran a consignment store, I probably wouldn't make people pay both. That's just ridiculous. Plus the idea that I have to pay for some reason I have to pay every time someone uses a credit card. It's called the credit card processing fee, but it's on me, not on the person using the credit card. It should be on the person using the credit card or the company accepting the credit card, the business. But I digress. That's just that's a side quest, and I'm going to try to stick to this quest and digress. So another thing that's called an overhead cost is called gasoline. I have to use gasoline and my time to go look and hunt for items that may or may not sell in my booth. That's another factor that he's not factoring in. So I have to pay 10% consignment fees. So if I sold it for $30 and I just paid $23, that's now paying another $3. So that's 23, 24, 25, $26. 7, 8, 9, 30. I'm now making $4. $4. I'm only going to make $4. $4 does not cover my search time, my gasoline expense, or my booth rent expenses. I'm just using this one item as an example. So for me to make money, I have to sell the items for at least double the value of the purchase price. Okay? And I also have to sell the items for a little bit lower than, say, a toy store, a collectibles store, or a hobby shop would try to sell it. And I also have to try to sell the items for a little bit lower than Walmart or Target would try to sell said item for. The same item, mind you. So, if I pay 22, 23, for me to be able to do that, 50 is reasonable. I don't see how he doesn't understand that that's reasonable. I'm running a semi-successful business because I am making a check every month. But I'm not making checks of thousands of dollars. I'm making checks of hundreds of dollars. Sometimes not even $100. So you want me to make sales at the cost of losing money. That's not how businesses work, people. Okay? So if I'm going to make sales, I need to make profit. I need to make money. That's how businesses work. I can't try to lose money just to make sales. I'm trying to run a business here. Oh man. Trying to run a business. And to run a business, you have overhead costs, which you have to factor in. I'm worth at least $20 an hour. So let's factor that in. If we do that, and I do a toy show, I usually lose money when I factor in. Because if I was making, because I have to factor in cost of product, cost of show, and how many hours I was there, so how much money did I make? Usually, in those cases, if you do all that, you'll, and how much money it costs me to go there, come back, get the stuff, come back with the stuff, load the stuff up, etc. Right? So, when you inevitably add most stuff up, I usually lose money going to the toy shows. So, yeah. I may actually already be losing money on the booth because I'm not making a whole lot of money. But on the plus side, you would have to pay the same amount of money for a storage unit as I do for the booth. So I would be having stuff in storage that I didn't selling at all, not making any money. At least this way, I have a place that kind of is like storage. And if the stuff doesn't sell, well, if it sells enough to pay for it, then I don't have to pay storage costs. So, in a way, it's better to have a booth where you have your stuff in there. That way you don't have to have a storage unit. I mean, from a certain perspective, you can look at it from that perspective. And like I said in another video, if the prices at these discount thrift stores and discount retail stores, if they keep going up, I'm going to have to not buy from them at all. And I'm just going to have to go up in the attic and find vintage toys to sell. And then, well, the people aren't going to like the prices on those either because I'm going to have to put, because they're vintage and they're come here. Okay. Wow. It did not. Wow. I thought my phone was going to cancel and stuff. It fell down and it did something, and I thought it was going to cut off the video and I was going to have to continue the video somewhere else on the part 2, but it didn't. Praise Jesus. Anyway, that's why I said dadgummit. Anyway, where was I? Yeah, so I get it. Everybody is on a strain to save money or something. Because the economies are bad and stuff, and because the jobs, they won't pay you enough and stuff. And because if they do pay you more, then they go up on their prices, knowing that the CEO, multi-billionaires and millionaires are already rich and don't need no more money, but for some reason they want more money. So if they pay more money out, they want more money for themselves, which is stupid because they already have more money and they don't need more money. But I digress. That's a side issue. So I'm trying. I'm a little fish in a huge pond, trying to make a little bit of profit, right? And it hurt. It sucks. It's terrible. The economy is bad. I get it. People don't want to spend their money, but don't complain to us small fish, small retailers, when we're trying to make a little profit. What you need to complain to is the big fish, the giant fish, the huge sharks and whatnot that are multimillionaires and billionaires. I'm an average Joe like you, okay? This is literally, at the moment, this and the YouTube thing are literally my only sources of income because I chose, which most people should choose, in my opinion, to not be ruled and controlled and work at a job that is stressful and treats me like a cog in the machine and doesn't care and will not promote, will not give a raise, is in an industry that's going downhill anyway, and it puts me in a location that did not coincide to my values, did not coincide to my morals, and where the employees that I'm supposed to be over do not give me the respect or the authority or for the position that I'm supposed to be over them. I mean, come on. I was given not get I would do the job of 4 to 5 individuals, yet they did not want me to work overtime. I did the job of 4 and 5 individuals, yet they did not want to promote me. Did the job of 4 to 5 individuals, yet I'm only being used as a workhorse. You don't want to take any of my input. You don't want to take any of my ideas. You don't want to. All these jobs are exactly the same. They want to use me as essentially a workhorse, what I can do. They don't want to use me for what I can know. They don't want to use me for what. They don't want to use this part of me, which is what I would like to be used. They want me to use this part of me. But I want to be used this part of me and this part of me, and I don't want to be stuck in what's considered a dead-end job. Okay? I don't want to have managers over me that don't listen to me. Matter of fact, I don't want to have managers over me, period. I do not like the hierarchy of how they do things. I just like getting the job done. I don't like the hierarchy of it. I also don't like the fact that women want to use me as a man, but then take the credit for what I did for them. Don't like that. I don't like the fact that they gave. Okay, where's my recognition? Where's my promotion? Where's my pay raise? Where are those when you work for a company? I should be entitled to that. Where is it? I don't want to be a cog in the machine. I don't want to be. I'm not a square peg to be fit in a round hole. I'm not a round peg to be fit in a square hole either. I'm not even a triangle peg, okay? They tell you to think outside the box, but when you think outside the box like I do, which requires you to build another box, because I think so far outside the box that I build another box that has that box and other boxes within that box. Okay? That's how my mind works. Okay? So I think so far outside the box that I build a bigger box that has that box and all the other boxes put inside that bigger box. Thinking outside and within multiple boxes. Okay? Simultaneously. What they really mean, they really don't want you to think outside the box, because what they really mean is stick in your position and stay in your position. Because I'm the kind of person that doesn't like doing the jobs that they require me to do. there's a few things I do really disliked doing when I was a shift manager, and those jobs were essentially telling people that they have to go home, telling people we don't have the hours, knowing that the owners of the corporations have plenty of money and do have the hours. Because I would personally like to work more hours, but I personally myself am also not allowed to work more hours. Telling people that they are only allowed to work a certain amount of hours. I don't like it. Having to supervise individuals and figure out what teams of groups should be together and should not be together. I mean, I did it, but I had to take care of all this extra paperwork. And I'm not really a big fan of paperwork. I'm not a paperwork pusher. I don't understand why corporations want so much paperwork. They obviously can see that the job is getting done. They don't really need paperwork for production purposes to see how well the job is getting done. I don't understand that part. It's the job would be getting done better if I had more time because I need additional time to do said paperwork or I need additional resources, labor to get jobs done more faster and more efficiently. And upper management and human resources get in the way by not giving me what I need to get the job accomplished, which includes more hours and more labor, which they never want to give you. So, this is why I don't personally like upper management. Because upper management gets paid more to do less work, in my humble opinion. Like, when I was working the Dollar Tree, here's a example. The guy told me that he was going to start. This is before I quit. He was going to start requiring every employee to at least do one. That included the cashiers. So he's going to start requiring everyone to put merchandise up. So, and they were all going to be in charge of at least one. Every employee was supposed to put up at least one pallet, not pallet, but one U-boat. Okay, one U-boat a day. So if we had cashier that day, you would bring up, say, the stuff that gets put in the, like there's a front end section, there's some shelves there, and then there's also like there's some stuff they can put close to the front. So I guess you could bring them that to put up. So now that makes more work on me. Me as the merchandise manager, I now have to bring a pallet, a U-boat of the different merchandise to the different people in their different positions so that I can and then I also have to write down production costs at the end of the day or at the end of my shift. Anyway, how many boxes they got put up and how much stuff they got done, how much stuff they got accomplished. Because they were theoretically you were supposed to be able to do like a certain amount of boxes an hour or something based off of their I don't know where they get their math or where they get their projections or whatever. I just don't know. I know I can do like I can do a box a minute and have done a box a minute, so I can be fast. So I don't know where they get their their stuff. I just don't understand how they get their math. But I think they wanna. I think it's they want you to get like 30 boxes done in an hour. I think was the average or something. Anyway, it's irrelevant. The point is that's what they want. Okay, but they won't give you the resources. They won't allocate. They wouldn't allocate the resources so that I could get that. Anyway, the point I was making is when the district manager told me that, I said, okay, so you want everybody that comes in, I go, you want every employee that comes into the store to make at least one pallet. And he said, yeah. I go, then I will make sure that when you come in the store, I will bring you, not pallet, I keep saying pallet, I mean U-boat, that I will bring a U-boat to your office or outside your office. He didn't like when I said that. He thought I was joking, but I was serious. I'm like, no, I'm serious. If if you want all us employees to do one, you should also do one because at this time he was going to have his office in the store that I was the he doesn't work there anymore. He retired. But the point is that I was coming across is that if what you require from me, you should do yourself. That is the point I was requiring. If you're going to require it from us, you should also do the same work. So what I was implying is that you shouldn't be in your office all day doing paperwork. You should be out here putting merchandise up just like me. You hired me to be a merchandise manager, but you want everybody to do it, which means you should do it yourself. See, this is why I don't like paperwork and paperwork pushing because a lot of the times, a lot of places I've worked, I have been putting merchandise up everywhere I've worked, and plenty of places I worked had a store manager who, in some cases, was younger than me, a different gender than me, and even, well, in most cases, they were either A, younger than me, B, a different gender than me, or C, a different race than me. And in a lot of cases, they loved staying in the office, doing absolutely nothing. I don't know what they were doing in the office because even when I was in charge of doing paperwork as shift managers or whatever, it never took me that long to be in the office to do all this work. I don't know what they're doing in the office to be on the computer to do that much work all the time. I worked at I believe it's okay. Marshalls, TJ Maxx, and Home Goods are all owned by and operated by the same corporation. Um, I worked at a Home Goods one time, as they gave me the job of it's basically called a coordinator. A coordinator is a team leader, but I had literally no team, and my job was essentially put merchandise on shelves and also build furniture in the back. And also, when the trucks came in, I was to assist unloading the trucks. I had no team, so I really was not a coordinator. I don't know. It was essentially they figured out a way to give me a workhorse job that was full time because all the other jobs were part time. So basically, they gave me the title of a full time position without actually giving me any of the stuff I needed to be a coordinator. A coordinator is supposed to be in charge of one area of the store. I was not in charge of one area of the store. Um, I was basically, they gave me the job, but then they gave me a different job requirement than the job that they gave me the title for. And the only reason they gave me the title coordinator is so that I could have a full time position with occasional overtime. So it made no sense. When I addressed my concerns and my thoughts of how this company should be run directly to the DM, the district manager, it didn't take very long where I was told, don't come in and we will pay you for the rest of the week. Here is your severance. I was pretty much fired for addressing the concerns that the current management was not doing their job properly. I addressed concerns of how the store could be ran better and more efficiently, and instead of promoting me and going, "Hey, these are great ideas. You're a genius, Jeff. We should make you store manager." They fired me, and they told me not even to come into work, and that they would pay me the rest of this week and next week's pay that I was scheduled for, because they had already had me scheduled. Now, that was great that they would pay me that. But what would have been better is if they would have just made me the boss. So, when I actually addressed concerns, nobody wants to fix the problem. No, the company doesn't want to actually fix the problem. And the problem that they need to fix is part time. That's the first problem that every corporation needs to fix. Fix part time. Abolish it. You will fix so much problems if you just abolish part time. But that requires you to spend money. Step 2, fix equipment. Fix equipment and or fix seriously, fix equipment. Most companies do not, especially in the fast food industry, I swear, they do not want to fix their equipment. If the Food and Drug Administration would, I swear, if they would just do thorough inspections of all these fast food places, they would have to shut so many of them down because most of them do not. They refuse to fix equipment. The equipment is old, it's used, they have old equipment. Just okay. Third of all, third problem that these companies need to fix is management style. They've got to quit putting people in power just because of race, religion, sexual orientation, gender, whatever, to fit their DEI stuff, and actually start putting people in management that care about the workers and the employees and the customers, and don't only want to do what's right for the company and for the profits. They got to stop worrying about profits and care more about people. They got to quit putting people in positions of authority and power that are essentially liberals. I'm just going to say that because liberals, the whole idea of the liberal philosophy is pushes towards socialism and communism, while the conservative philosophy pushes toward compassionate capitalism, which is and compassionate capitalism. Gummy, phone keeps falling down. Compassionate conservatism, capitalism, is a capitalism that is more for the individual. They're also for individual liberty and freedom. So to merge capitalism with individualism and freedom is a hard thing to do. But to do that, you have to have the individuals, employees, want to work for your company. And you can't have that if you're treating them terrible. You can't have that if you have too many rules and regulations. You can't have that if you have the wrong management, a management that's not willing to work with the employees but wants to think they're above the employees. You can't have that. You have to have the right type of management. To have the best manager is the one that is will lead by example and is willing to do everything that you do. They're willing to lead by example. And the best leader leads a person into battle. They don't lead from the table or from the desktop or from the computer or whatever. If you're not going to go into battle, how do you expect the men to follow you? Or women or whatever. The best leaders aren't necessarily the Joint Chiefs of Staff. They're appointed leaders. The best leaders are the ones that actually have their foot to the ground. So when you have CEOs leading, thinking that what works in this store will work in that store, it's not going to work. But when you have individual managers of each individual store running their store the way it works in their store, you got a difference. And you can't have that when you keep putting people that really don't like capitalism in general in power. Okay? If you're going to put liberals in power because diversity, equity, and inclusion and all that other bunch of stuff, you're putting people in power that don't believe in your vision. They don't believe in your philosophy. They don't believe in your in capitalism. They don't believe in the job they're doing. They're only there for a paycheck. So they're going to do as little work as they can get away with doing to make as much money as they can get away with making. But when you put people in power that actually believe in the company, they actually believe in doing what's right to make the most money for the company, and actually do believe in doing what's right for the individuals that work there, and doing what's right for the individuals who shop there, eat there, or whatever, you then create a loyal customer and a loyal employee base, and those incline loyal good employees happy employees make productive employees. Good customers and loyal customers spend more money, and they invite their friends, and they invite their family, and they bring others, and thus increase your profits. So when you put good employees and take care of your customers base, you make more money, and you're more productive, and thus you make more money, right? Okay. But when you put leftists, liberals, who really don't like capitalism, they're going to push for socialism and communistic changes. But these changes aren't going to be actually good for the company. I mean, telling people that we need better equipment is a thing that's good for the company. It means better equipment equals better production. Okay? Good. Telling people that you need certain things, minimum, telling people that, but with the socialism and communist changes, it's not necessarily good. Some of their changes are essentially increasing the minimum wage. Well, if they increase the minimum wage, then we have to increase the price, the cost of the merchandise to pay y'all, right? Because the big shots are never going to take a pay cut. I mean, you can push for a minimum wage all you want, but if you don't push for pay cuts for the big shots, if you don't cut out bonuses, see, if you cut out the bonuses, you could use that money to increase pay. Why do they need bonuses anyway? They're already making millions of dollars. They're already millionaires. They're already billionaires. They do not need bonuses. If you cut out the private jets and the private cars and the private this and the private that and all the corporate retreats and the corporate, if you cut out all that money, you could use that money to buy better equipment and pay better salaries. Just saying. Okay. So anyway, like I said, I'm not against capitalism. I'm all for capitalism. Capitalism has been used. I just see as a capitalist myself, I just see that the way they're doing capitalism isn't working because capitalism refuses to change. Capitalism has become corporatism, and corporatism has become too greedy. There was a time when capitalism was designed and created to better mankind, and now it's only to better the bigger business and those in charge of the bigger businesses. It's become profit over people, it's become greed is good, it's become to a system where it's almost as equal to serfdom, where the big corporate elites are the kings, and then the HR and certain managements are the knights that keep the peasants, the individual employees, in line and in check. Now, I'm not saying that every king is the evil king, but I'm saying in general the structure is just bad. I'm on the same side as the leftists when they keep saying, well, which they're wrong. They're all liars when they say this. They keep saying that socialism, when, okay, conservatives, we keep bringing up the fact that socialism and communism has been tried 101 times in 101 different flavors, and every single time it fails. And we're just about correct, but in some cases it fails because we interfere with it. Just going to throw that out there that there was at least one version of it where, or two, in the historical context that actually worked until America came in and ruined it. We destroyed it on purpose because we wanted to say capitalism that communism failed. Well, technically it failed, and yes, it did fail. And one could make an argument that it failed, and if anything can be defeated by a stronger political ideology or financial ideology, and one could make an argument that okay, socialism and communism could work if we confine them to a certain area and they were isolationist. All right. Okay. So it can work if it's isolationist. Isol- insulated. Isolated. Dadgummit. I don't even know the right word. Dadgummit, stop falling down. Stop falling down, phone. Defy gravity. Stop falling down. Golly. Anyway. Isolationist. Yeah, that's the word I was looking for. So it might work if they're isolationist. Well, wouldn't that make them nationalist? Wouldn't that make them only for them? Which really, if you think about it, wouldn't make them true communists or true socialists. Because true communists and true socialists want that to work for everybody. But I digress. The left, they keep saying that these 101 different flavors of communism and socialism, none of them were true communism and none of them were true socialism because they didn't work. That's not how it works. That doesn't even work logically. Okay? If it didn't work and you tried, what the definition of insanity? Doing the same thing over and over and over again, expecting the same result, different results. Well, that is what you keep doing the same thing over and over and over again, expecting different results. You're insane. Now, me personally, I think capitalism is also in the routine of being insane right now because in most cases of capitalism, we have been stagnant in the system of capitalism, and that stagnation has only allowed the poor to get poorer, the middle class to not even exist. If you're a member of the middle class, you're either a member of the upper class poor or the lower class rich. I will explain that in another video, probably, um, of what I mean by that. There is no true middle class. There's only rich and poor. If there was an actual middle class, there wouldn't be rich or poor. Everyone would be middle class. There would be upper class, middle class, and there would be lower class, middle class. There would be no rich and poor. Right now, you're either in upper class poor or lower class rich. The difference between is basically how much money you have, what you can afford, how much money you make, and how big your debt is. If you're lower class poor, you probably have little debt, decent job, you probably have enough in savings to last. You probably have to work a part time job when you retire, if you do decide to retire, because your retirement will not be enough to keep up. If you are in lower class rich, you're probably a millionaire. You probably have some decent, good investments. Millionaire, multimillionaire. You do not ever have to borrow money, but you use debt. Use debt to basically you use debt to you basically use debt to your advantage. You probably own your home, you own your cars, and you probably can afford your kids' college tuition. Um, and you probably own some things that are good investments, possibly even own your own business or run your own business or are very high up in a corporate setting where you're like district, regional, something like that manager. Um, but you're well enough to do. You're just not like super rich. You're rich, but you're lower class rich. You could afford your kids to go to private school, and maybe you do let them go to private school. But then again, you might still be the kind of person that wants them to go to public school because you went to public school. Then again, of course, you're looked you're what upper class middle class would like to be, but can't make it, and you still shun upper class middle class thinking you're better than them, and they still shun you thinking they're better than you because they think you're too rich and that they don't think that it was fair that you got what you got when you probably did work for what you got. I'm not going to lie. You probably did work your butt off your whole entire life just to get where you are today. So, but you're still lower class poor, rich, and they're still upper class poor. And even you in both positions have probably worked your butt just to get to where you are, and y'all are both probably also stuck in a system where you cannot escape your position where you are. It's just not possible. Um, anyways, there I explained it somewhat. What was I talking about? I don't know. I'm just joking. Yeah. Okay. Anyways, I'm talking about capitalism. I think capitalism at this point is at a point where it's being crazy too because again we're repeating the same ideas. Again, what is the definition of insanity? It's doing the same thing over and over and over again, expecting different results. Well, in general, capitalism has been doing the same thing over and over and over again, like literally my whole entire life, just about my whole entire parents' life, and they're expecting different results. And what I mean by that is they're expecting more money, more efficient employees. They want everybody to go to a time that is gone. It's gone. It's not here anymore. It's not coming back. I think everybody wants us to go back to that time, but it's just not coming back. Um, but you're doing the same things from those time periods, expecting different results in this time period, and you're not getting those. And instead, companies are going bankrupt. They're going out of business. They are shutting down stores. They're shutting down businesses, uh, buildings. They're liquidating. They're, but again, they're still doing the same things and expecting different results. They're putting the same type of people in power that shouldn't be in power. They're putting they're selling things for too high that they shouldn't be selling them for too high. They're expecting more profit than they should. Uh, they're trying to, again, they're not coming up with new products and new ideas. What they're really doing is catering to nostalgia. I mean, they're literally catering to nostalgia. Everything that's coming out is not fresh. It's not new. It's already been done. It's literally already been done. You might be trying to make it new and fresh from a new person's from a younger audience, but it's been done. It's been done, tried. Everything that's coming out, like all the movies, been done. All the books, been done. All the products, like literally, Funko is going out of business because it's literally built on nostalgia. And, and all these action figures, you make way too many of them. Way too many of them. And then you charge too much. Which comes back to the very beginning of my video. Okay, maybe I could sell the items at $30 if I got them for 10, and thus I could make enough profit, right? Well, again, Hasbro, for example, and Funko, both production wise, made way too many items. Okay? Now they can't sell them for the prices they want. Instead of limiting the amount on their production to save money, they want to increase the cost of the products. Doesn't work. Limit the production and also lower the cost of the products. And then, if you really don't like the way I sell things, I would say petition to your local congressman, which one day might be me, if I ever run and win. Petition to your local congressman that corporation, tell them you want a law passed that says there has to be a profit max for everybody. Say 100%. Okay, well, if there's 100%, then I can't sell double. You can't make over double your money. If that's the case, then I can't sell items for, but I mean, that would mean that I can't sell, if I bought it for 5, I'd have to sell it for 10. Couldn't sell it for more than 10. That's what a double. And while you're at it, I have a great idea. How about also when it comes to profit maxes? We we always talk about a minimum wage here in this country. But my question is, why don't anybody ever talk about a maximum wage? Like, shouldn't these big shots be limited to a certain amount of money that they once they get earn that amount of shouldn't people be set at a certain limit of how much money they can make, and then they can't make any more after that? Wouldn't that be? I mean, if we're talking about minimum wages, why are we not talking about a maximum wage? Shouldn't there be like a max? Just thinking out loud here that if there's a minimum, there should be a max, right? Right now we have a minimum without a maximum. We have a system of there's no maximum profit. We have a system where there's no maximum wage. We have a system where sky is the limit, which means there is no limit. I mean, we have, but we know that doesn't work because we know that there has to be limits. Everything has to have limits. There's science is based off of a concept of limits. There's no such thing as limitless. So we all know that everything has to have a limit, or else everything comes crashing down and crumbling. And without the legality of limits, you create other chaos. Because, like, just think about it. If the speed limit didn't exist, say there was no speed limit, people could drive as fast as they wanted to, and it would never be safe for anyone to cross the street, ever. What happens when one person's driving as slow as they want, another person's driving super fast? They're going to crash into each other. And does cause way more problems. Personally, I think speed limit is too low, and it should be raised. But there still should be limits, right? Just like I think the voting age is too high, and the electing age is too high, and they should both be lowered. Like, why do you have to be 35 before you can become president? And why do you have to be 18 before you can vote? It doesn't seem like it makes much sense to me. Um, just thoughts. I mean, if the whole idea of voting is because of no taxation without representation, which is a lie because that's not really the reason. It originally, and if it's also, and or if it was also about property rights, then people that are being taxed that aren't allowed to vote. Why, you know, once you get a job, you're able to be taxed. So people are getting jobs at 14, 15 years old, and they're being taxed without representation. Just saying. This is another little side note quest. But anyway, the point I'm trying to make is that you are going after the wrong people. People who go after me for trying to make a profit are going after the wrong people. You are not factoring on all the costs that is associated to it. But when I go after big shot, multi-billionaire corporate rich entities, I'm not going after the wrong people. I'm going after the right people because they can actually afford it. They don't need to be, no one needs to be a billionaire. They don't need to be one. They want to be one. No one needs to be that rich. No one needs a multi-million-dollar mansion. No one needs these things. No one needs them, right? Capitalism is the best way to acquire those things, yes. But do you need those things? No. So my thing is there should be limits because people don't need them. There should be limits. Just like there should be a limit on merchandise. Like, seriously. As it stands right now, you can go to any store, any day, anytime, and buy as many items of the same exact item as you dang well feel like. Which makes no sense. See, if there was limited there was limited resource, limited, then there would be more of a need for limited amount of stuff. So what I'm trying to get at is maybe, just maybe, for the sake of argument, corporations should limit their merch to $1 million a unit. Not $1 million. Wrong wording. 1 million units. 1 million units, then destroy the mold. Don't make no more, right? Okay, basically 1 million and that's it. Now, that would make everything worth more secondary market eventually, right? Because there's less, scarcity makes stuff more valuable, right? Okay, boom. Um, so that would make it a limit. Which then, if you had a limit of there's only going to be 1 million of these made, then there would be required, since there's the limit of only 1 million, where each person could only buy one or two of each item. I don't know how we would enforce that, but people already, I mean, we already have a problem in the scalper market with like Pokemon cards, for example, because people are literally fighting and to buy the whole freaking palette of Pokemon cards when it comes out or something in some cases. Because these scalpers want to sell them on the secondary market and make even more money, which is crazy. I'm not trying to do that. I'm just trying to make a little decent wage. I'm trying to make a decent money, decent living. Yeah. Anyway, remember, God is good all the time. All the time, God is good. I haven't talked for over an hour now. Y'all probably haven't watched the whole thing. Anyway, have a blessed day, and